Hi everyone. I want to introduce you to Katherine Castle, who's my guest for today, Australian wildlife artist. Welcome, Katherine.
Hi, how you going, everyone?
So why don't we start off and just tell us a little bit about you and your art story.
Well, I've been painting for most of my life. Probably started as a kid. I used to draw a bit, but not like more than the average, I guess. But I never thought I wanted to be an artist back then. I wanted to be a photographer. So when I finished school, I went to TAFE to do photography, but my art was a minor subject. Photography the major, and that's when I my interest was renewed, and I did drawing and colour and design and not much else, but it was a bit. And then from there, it sort of grew from there. I started doing more at home on weekends, practice. I had my grandmother was a big inspiration. She was an artist. My dad was an artist, but he didn't. In my childhood, he painted, but not much later on. So I had a few people around me. That's sort of where it grew from.
Okay, and you've been making your living as an artist for most of your career, is that right?
Yes. I didn't go. I had kids about 25. I never went back to full-time work for a while. As I painted mainly. I didn't go back to any other job. So and sort of grew to full-time as the kids got older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got a real love for wildlife, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. I we grew up on a farm and had lots of animals. Had lots of rescue animals like wallabies, and my favourite was the wombat, and always been around a lot of animals and in the bush and in nature, so that was a big inspiration and still is.
Yeah. And tell us about what mediums you like to work in.
uh, Mainly oils or watercolors. I'm not real big on acrylics, but yeah, I sort of flip from one to the other. At the moment I'm doing a lot of watercolors, and then I'll go back to oils, especially in the heat of summer. I don't like doing watercolors very much, but
Is that
the
because you
drying
find
time
they
and that,
dry fast?
I dry way too fast, so
Yeah.
yeah, I sort of mix it up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your process. Do you, I know that you travel a bit. Do you gather references that way, or sort of talk us through the process of going from idea to paint?
Well, I gather reference while I'm traveling. I've got thousands and thousands of reference photos. I've just been around Australia the past 2 years traveling, and got a wealth of information from that.
Mm.
So yeah, I normally I'm doing a lot of landscape backgrounds with birds at the moment, and I think the landscape inspires me, and then I find something to suit it. That's how I'm sort of working at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so other
So,
times, it's the birds, but yeah, I change a bit.
yeah. Oh, that's nice. And so once you've got your references and inspiration, do you tend to play around with a lot of sketches and ideas, or do you do that digitally, or do you just sort of jump into the painting, the final version?
Well, if I'm doing birds, I definitely do a lot of playing around. I do sketches normally first, and then if I'm doing like a group of birds, say a group of wrens, I'll have different photos in the screen. I'll do it on computer and
Yeah,
play around with it and get the right composition.
yeah, your
Then,
compositions
then
are amazing.
thank you. Yeah, I find that the easiest way rather than drawing it over and over again. But then I will draw it after I find the one I like. I'll draw it up properly and then not as a finished drawing and then paint it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you draw it up on your canvas or watercolor paper, or do you draw it separately and then transfer it?
Separately, and then I
Yeah,
transfer it over. Yeah,
yeah,
I do a lot of rubber. Yeah, changing around and moving things around. So I don't do until I'm completely happy with the final drawing. I don't do it on the real paper or canvas.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what about your palette? Do you have a really set palette that you like, or do you tend to change it up?
Well, I do use very basic palette. I don't use many earth colors at all. I use normally a warm and a cool, yellow, blue and red and white, and not much else. I use a green and crimson for mixing blacks, but most of my colours come from the primaries. And,
well, that's how I teach
yeah.
my students to mix colour. So that's interesting because your
Okay.
colour is really beautiful.
I just find you can get most colours from using those rather than going to all these. And I don't like muddy colour.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so you need the two primary system, the
yes.
cool and the warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you tend to work in a fairly layered process, or do you work a la prima? What's your oil style like?
Oh, probably layered and there's oil style. I tried various ways, but normally just block it. I block it in and then and then I just refine it and refine it until it gets till it's finished, till more detail. I'm trying to work in a more painterly style, but I just keep coming back to doing detail. I just can't help myself.
Yeah, we were talking about that in one of my classes recently, that although when you know yourself, you lean into growth, by the same token, you don't generally paint in a way that's completely different than your personality. You're either super loose and painterly, or you tend to be more of a detailed person, and it's often linked to personality, I think. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah. I don't know. I just can't seem to get away from. I try. Yeah, I start painterly and then I finish off. Yeah, back where I. Yeah, but I think being loose helps. You can still be loose within detail. I don't like ultra realism or photographic realism.
Right.
So hopefully
your
I'm
style
not
seems really
going that much.
consistent. It's looking at the sort of your body of work over the years, clearly it's yours. So recognisable.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So you've done a lot of work with Maxwell and Williams. Is that what it's about 10 years now?
Yeah, 10-year anniversary range is just coming to the shops, which they were painted about a year ago now, but takes a while for the process. So it's been a great experience working with them for 10 years, and I feel very, very lucky to still be there and still be putting mugs out every year or so. It's been wonderful.
They're really lovely. So has it mostly been mugs? Have there been plates somewhere along the line too?
Mugs, plates, tea towels now, placemats, coasters, things like that. Yes.
Yeah. So does that make up sort of the main body of your work, or is that just a small part of what you do? How does that fit?
Oh, it's just a part. Yeah. It's I might get a big block of work for a couple of months with them, and then nothing for 18 months. You don't know what's going to happen. So, but yeah, the past couple of years it's been pretty consistent. And with traveling and doing the work for them, I haven't done much in between. But I'll be settling down in the studio soon, and I'll be getting on with my own work a lot more.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the commission process. If you're working on something for a design for Maxwell and Williams, say, does it take sort of a consistent amount of time? You've done it so many times now. Do you kind of have that process down where you know it's going to take this much work, or what does that look like?
Well, it varies. The one I'm doing a new one for the following year at the moment, which is a bit different. It's a watercolor. The oils that I did for the 10-year anniversary, I had pretty free reign with that one. I had to do the popular birds because that's what the biggest selling point. And when designing them, I know what you put a design in a different way. You can't just use a painting. You have to design so the focus is on one side of the mug, and then another focus is on the other side of the mug. Where if I was painting a painting for myself, I'd probably have one central point that you look at, like one main focus.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm painting, it's going to be a different composition altogether. But it's mainly just doing something that's more a brighter subject works better. Just trying to keep the bird's personality in life, and the same sort of a lot of the same, a few things a bit different, mainly the composition.
So how many weeks would you spend typically on a commission for them?
Depends if there's a deadline.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if I have my choice about three weeks or something, yeah, something like that,
Wow.
at a
That
nice
seems
relaxed
fast.
pace. Yeah, I've done it a lot quicker. I did a dog and cat range once, and I had to do 2 a week, which was terrible. But it was a lot of work. But
Yeah.
sometimes the deadlines are hard. But yeah, it's getting better.
So do you tend to paint to a really consistent schedule, or does it vary a lot? Are you sort of on a 9 to 5, or do you paint an hour a day, or what does your day look like?
I try to. I don't have the regular Saturdays, Sundays off. I don't know, just because I'm traveling lately, things are a bit different
Yeah.
because sometimes I'm in between places and you're driving for a couple of days, and then I'd have a couple of weeks of intense work without having a day off. But I try to get the good 30 hours a week in or something of painting, which is sometimes difficult.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. That's great.
Yeah, but regularly I like to get up. I work better in the morning, so I get up and get going
Mm.
and do
Yeah,
my
me
best.
too.
I think I do my best work before lunch.
Yeah, I'm wired that way too. I'm not a night owl, not at all.
No, no, I cannot work. I cannot paint at night time. I find that very difficult. Even with good lighting, I find it hard.
So if you were going to give some tips to beginners, is
Yeah.
there anything that you particularly like to encourage them with or teach or share?
Um, I think you just don't get stuck into somebody else's style. Try and develop. Just practice as much as you can, and just enjoy doing it. Practice your color mixing. Practice your drawing. Drawing's a big thing. If you can practice your drawing, that helps. That sort of goes into everything.
Mm.
Yeah, just practice, practice, practice. That's what it is.
That's right. I
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
What about for those who are thinking maybe about making their living from art, making that jump from enjoying their hobby to making an income from their painting? Do you have any advice or tips or encouragement for people at that stage?
Um, I think it's just a matter of getting your work out there as many places as possible. From art shows to galleries to obviously now the social media. Yeah, it's very difficult at times to do it. I'm lucky I've had the outlet of Maxwell Williams to show my work and to bring it wider. But there's still a lot of places like even Blue Thumb and those places. I find a lot of people are having a lot of success with those. Yeah, just keep putting it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can we connect with you, Katherine?
You can connect with me on my Facebook, Katherine Castle Art, and my Instagram, or my website, which is wildlifeart.com.au.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story and some hints and tips. I'm excited to introduce your work to others so that they can see and be inspired and encouraged in their own art journey. So what's next for you? What's coming up?
Well, I'm just about to settle down permanently for a little while after travelling for a few years, which would be nice to get my own studio space. So I expect to have, hopefully, I want to do a lot of big canvases actually. But yeah, and yeah, I've been working small for a while, so some nice big forest paintings and things like that I want to do.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing your work
Yeah.
comes out of being
Okay.
settled and having your space again. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for sharing with us today, Katherine.
Thank you, Fiona. Thanks.
Bye-bye.